Welcome back. During our class session for answer writing, we are discussing how to write good answer for UPSC, BPSC or any state civil services mains examination. And I went through a answer written by the aspirants who is going to take mains examination in other state civil services. And I would like to highlight that answer. On the ground of that, you should not taken any mistakes for expressing yourself on that answer sheet. Question is comment on the challenges for inclusive growth, which includes careless and useless manpower in the Indian context. Suggest measures to be taken for facing these challenges. The question is clearly related with the inclusive growth. And what is the challenges? What is the factor of challenges? What is the reason? What is the parameters on the basis of that inclusive growth is not being taken place? So this is the question. You will have to elaborate just putting one sentence about inclusive growth. What is inclusive growth? You will have to write simply what is inclusive growth means the growth of the last person who is standing up at the behind of the bottom of the society. If you are taking care of that person, it means you are taking care of the whole nation, because each and every human being is necessary and contributing their contribution in the performance of each and every aspects of country. In that situation, inclusive growth means the slogan of current government, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. It means you will have to care last mile of the society who is standing behind the bottom. So you will have to write just simple sentence, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and to take care economically upliftment of the last candidate, last person who is behind on the queue. This is the definition. Not more than that is required. If you are writing Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, that is good enough. So after elaborating inclusive growth, you will have to write what is the challenges. Challenges means what is the reason, what is the prime factor on the ground of that inclusive growth is not being taken care in the country, and there is lots of parameters where we are lagging behind. So what is the challenges? You will have to write more and more parameters, terms. What is that challenges which is creating constraints to get inclusive growth? So what is that challenges? The question is saying that careless and useless manpower. This is very, very sarcastic and very hard term, but what is the question asking? That is the main purpose to answer writing. So you will have to write there are lots of challenges which is creating problems to get the inclusive growth. The first will be you will have to write, rather than demography, you will have to write poor skilled worker. Poor skilled worker. And after that you will have to justify poor skilled means only 2% of Indian population is skilled in comparison to other country. But you don't need to write that there is lots of schemes going on for skill development. There is no need to write. Just the first para will be poor skilled worker, and you have to elaborate only in one line that there is 2%, only 2% population of the India is skilled worker. So on that ground we are lagging behind of the aim and objective. Second, you will have to write poor loyalty factor. Poor loyalty means our country's manpower is not so loyal for their duties in comparison to China or other. You should write one sentence there is lots of Chinese laborers working in the mines in Jharkhand and Odisha region. On account of that, the performance or per capita productivity of our manpower is lesser than that Chinese. So poor loyalty, people does not want to work in the full spirit and full temperament. They just passing the time and by making toilets, lunch, this and that on the account of that. The poor loyalty factor is the second largest challenge for getting the inclusive growth. And third one is Indian philosophical factor. What is Indian philosophical factor? Indian philosophy say that we are fatalist, bhagyavadi. We are believing that what is the need to earn more and just keeping up in a standby mode, and after your death nothing will go along with you. So such type of mentality do not create workmanship for the Indian citizens people. So such mindset is being created by our philosophical background of the Indian society, that is fatalistic approach. भाग्य में जितना होगा उतना मिलेगा, अरे कर्म ही नहीं करोगे तो कैसे मिलेगा. So that is the third point. Fourth is corruption. Philosophical हो गया. Then fourth is corruption. The implementing agency is itself not so loyal and not corrupt free. They are making malpractices with the connivance of the mukhiya or a block and whatever the officials seated there. On the ground of that, the implementation of the policy is not being taken into the wholehearted spirit. That is lack of implementation, gap of implementation on ground of corruption. Fifth is policy implementation. Fourth is policy implementation. Fifth, policy implementation means whatever policy we are making from the ministry, concerned secretariat, that implementing agency, whosoever is lying in the field, that is the BDO or CO or any inspectorial staff, they don't implement in the full spirit of the policy. They are wholeheartedly doing their own personal choices and own agenda rather than implementing in the right spirit of the policy. This is the gap between implementation and making. This is also a reason. Lack of awareness in remote area where the tribals belts are, lots of tribals area, lots of remote villages. They don't know that there is schemes for getting our development. There is lack of knowledge what schemes is being given by the government. There is more than 200 schemes right now is running on in India. And people, even you or me, are also not aware what is the schemes going on. So that is the another area, lack of knowledge about their schemes which is going on. You don't need to write what is the rectifications of doing that. Don't indulge yourself in that section. Just challenges is challenges. So remedial, you have to not, you don't have to read and write that rectification. Another sector is social conflict. People from villages are very biased on the caste basis. On the caste basis in the panchayat system, when it is launched, there is social conflict between 2-3 groups on the basis of caste. Due to that, they protect their own caste system if the person is related, Mukhiya is related on that caste. So this is again a challenge for inclusive growth, because social conflict is one of the factor. And last but not the least, that is the 10th, fifth हो गया policy implementation, 6th हो गया fatalistic, 7th हो गया social conflict, and last but not the least, lack of financial inclusion. Government has targeted to give the loan, even subsidized loan, for your own workmanship, for your own artisans work, for your own business. But people are not aware how much and how this loan will be taken. So that is the lack of communications between government and the beneficiary. So there is need to address that lack of knowledge about financial inclusion. There is need of social reformer whosoever come up and they guide us to tackle this problem. If they are not being aware, in that situation the concept of financial inclusion does not mean anything. So if you are targeting the challenges to establish inclusive growth, so this is the last but not the least. You will have to financially motivate, financial credit, microcredit, all these activities is covered under financial inclusions. That has to be implemented amongst the beneficiary. So this is also a factor. So you'll have to write this factor of inclusive growth which is faced, which is created as a challenges for inclusive growth. Last but not the least, it is saying that the suggest measures to be taken for facing these challenges. अब उपाय बताना आपको, तो उपाय बताने के लिए ये जितनी चीजें वट एवर द थिंग्स यू हैव रिटन, जस्ट यू रिवर्स सम एंड सम इनपुट टू बी add on, so that the you should tell the what is the measures and what is the upay, what is the rectifications for establishing that inclusive growth for the Indian society. Thank you very much. The second part of measures, you will have to go through the description and download the Prisha IAS app. Thank you.